Hi, my name is Alison Miller, and I am here today to talk about a social skills, social communication therapy lesson. Um, Children with limited language skills have particular deficits in identifying the feelings of participants in a conflict, identifying and evaluating strategies to overcome obstacles. These are areas children with autism or social pragmatic communication disorder really do struggle in initiating, responding, and maintaining social interactions. So this is an excellent exercise to work on social skills, pragmatics, and expressive language. No kid comes to social group saying, yeah, sign me up for a group where you point out how awkward I am. But in this lesson, I think we can, make it fun, make it relatable for the students, and really dive deep into many areas of social communication that these kids do struggle with. And on to the lesson. We are going to talk about a birthday party for our social skills lesson today. We're going to pass out a copy of the birthday party picture that we will be discussing to all the students in the group. Generally takes 2 students, but it can be anywhere from 2 to probably 5 students it's best for. The first thing we're going to do is ask the students about what's happening. We want to ask the children, where do you think the children are in this picture? Whose party do you think that this is? And the next step would be to encourage the children in the group to tell a story about what is going on in the picture. In that activity, we can work on storytelling, we can work on sequencing, we can work on descriptive words, WH questions, so many different areas that we can cover just in talking about what's happening. So after my students talk about that, I'm going to say, great ideas, excellent suggestions, and I'm going to say, and now I'm going to actually tell you a little story about what is going on in the picture. So it is Danny's 10th birthday. There's Danny. Danny has invited his friends, Emily, Alex, Joseph, and Stephen to his house for a birthday party. First, they played some games. Then Danny and his friends watched a movie. While they watched a movie, everyone ate pizza. Finally, it was time for cake. After everyone sings, Danny will open his presents. So that is what's happening, and we've discussed that. And now we can move on to our part B of our lesson. Okay, for the next part of our birthday lesson, we are going to focus on facial expressions and gestures. So nonverbal communication, it's an area which many children with social language deficits, they have a hard time with. And I think that it's an area that is definitely teachable. Facial expression and looking at the way someone's face conveys meaning. Also, body language is incredibly important, not just for them to understand what other people are thinking, but also in helping students to realize how much their own facial expressions and gestures, how that conveys meaning to other people. So we're gonna have the students look closely at each character's face. We're going to go character by character and break it down into three main areas. We're going to talk about the shape of the eyes as well as the shape of their mouth. This is a great picture because even though it's a simple black and white photo, easily photocopyable for an SLP, the facial expressions are definitely different, and they are carrying meaning. So we're going to talk about the shapes, the actual physical shapes of the eyes and the mouth. And then we're going to translate this into how do you think he or she feels? How do the shapes of the eyes and the look of the mouth translate into feelings? Then we're going to look at which direction the characters are looking. Eye contact is a huge area of a hugely challenging area for children with social communication challenges. So we're definitely going to look at which way are these children looking. For each of the students, we're going to look at body language. What position is their body? Where are their arms? Where are their shoulders? Where are their hands? Are they sitting? Are they standing? What can we take from those facial expressions and gestures to get a better idea of what we think is going on in this story? The next part of our lesson is going to be talk about perspective taking and understanding other people's perspective and how it relates to people in the group, and also working with kids to understand that their perspective isn't always 100% accurate, and that different people have different perspectives. It's a really good part of teaching social skills. So we're going to look at Emily. Emily is our girl over here. We're going to say, what is Emily looking at? What do you think she's thinking about? And we're maybe even going to encourage each student who have a copy of the birthday party in front of them to write in the thought bubble, what do you think Emily is thinking? Okay? Not what she's saying, but what is she thinking? This is a thought bubble. Then we're going to talk about Alex. He has the number 2 shirt on over here. How does Alex feel about the presents on the table? What do you think Alex is thinking about? And again, we're going to have them write what they think Alex is feeling and thinking in the thought bubble. We have down here, we have Stephen. He's a boy, he's yawning. Why do you think Stephen is yawning? Is Stephen thinking about his friends? What do you think Stephen is thinking about? And again, have them write what they think Stephen is doing, thinking in the thought bubble. Our next student is Joseph. He's on the floor playing video games. What is he holding? What is Joseph looking at? How does Joseph feel about the party? Is Joseph thinking about his friends? What do you think Joseph is thinking about? And have students write what they think, Joseph is thinking in the thought bubble. Finally, we have our birthday boy, Danny. What is Danny looking at? What do you think Danny is thinking about? And have students write what Danny is thinking in his thought bubble. So this is a lot of action, and I think that breaking it down student by student, kid by kid, and having them share and come up with their own feelings about what's going on is really going to open up discussion. And in this, we have so many different social communications going on that it's really a great opportunity for them to see not only get perspective on here, but also perspective within the group and how other kids in the group are looking at this and interpreting it. So after we do talk about perspective taking and really break down this particular situation, we are going to go into a section on supporting friends. The best way to present this is again with real scenarios. So our first thing we can say is talk about when my students go to a friend's birthday party. What can you say when you first arrive? Communicating with people in greetings and initial perspective is so important for these kiddos because many of them walk into my room and I say hi and don't get anything. Also, it's important to teach children to be polite and how to interact with people, with different kinds of people. Like when you walk into a birthday party and the mom answers the door, how do you greet the mom, and how would that be different than greeting the child if he opened the door? So what can you say to your friend when you first arrive at a birthday party? And then, we could take it back to the photo and we can say, pretend that you are talking to Steven, to this boy who's yawning. He tells you that he went to another party last week that was super fun. He says that Danny's party is boring. What can you say to Steven? Pretend you're talking to Emily. She's upset because she left Danny's present at home. What could you say to Emily? We also have Alex, and Alex, he's sad in this picture, right? Because he dropped his candy on the ground, and he has to throw a lot of it out because it's dirty. How does Alex feel? What could his friends do to make Alex feel better? We also have, during the party, Joseph keeps playing with his handheld game and does not keep his body in the group. Is this behavior expected? Why or why not? I have many children that I work with that have goals on their IEPs regarding expected and unexpected behaviors. And talking about that in lieu of supporting friends, I think is a really good lesson for these kids to understand that, sometimes they have to adjust their behavior, even if it means not being true to their own feelings in order to function appropriately in a social situation. So that would be our section about supporting friends. The final part of the lesson is taking what we learned from the birthday party picture in our social skills group, likely in a school or a clinical environment setting, and really trying to take it out of the clinic and out of the therapy setting and translating it to behaviors that are generalized behaviors. So we're going to talk about respecting others. And we're gonna also, again, put scenarios. When you go to someone's birthday party, should you tell them what the gift is before they unwrap it? Why or why not? We're also gonna say, usually there are parents and other adults at a birthday party. What do you say to adults when you arrive? What should you say when it's time to go home? We're gonna talk about if a person hands you a treat that is not your favorite, what should you say? Sometimes children, and that struggle in social skills, they are so black and white. And, a lie is a lie and the truth is the truth and there's no gray area. And, most social interaction in our society does occur in that gray area, and that's why this is so hard for them. Treats of them, I don't like it, is not an appropriate social response, or giving it back is not appropriate. So it's really important to talk about better ways to, not to say you have to eat it if you don't like it, but better ways to handle a situation that politely and kindly. We also want to talk about how loudly should you sing happy birthday? Is it expected to shout things like cha-cha-cha during the birthday song? What about blowing out the candles if it's not your party? Should you do that? And then, you know, pretend Danny opens a gift that you don't like. What should you say? So again, you know, in this birthday party scenario on paper, we've really covered so many different areas. Respecting others, supporting friends, understanding what's happening by facial expressions and gestures. You know, we've taken perspective, and I really think that this is, you know, it's a really good lesson to maybe to, you know, and you know, you can do this with other situations. You can pretty much any photograph of a child, a group of children in a social environment, and you know, talk about what they're doing. But you know, I think that this is a really great way for children to open the discussion about what's going on in a social situation, and really diving deep into giving kids actual concrete and you know, appropriate feedback about where they might be breaking down and how they can repair, and how they can make social interactions easier and more comfortable for themselves in the future. So that's all for today for our social language communication lesson. And this is Alison Miller, a very excited future SLP.